All right, this is the last week, week 7 of Lent. And a few days from now, many of us are going to look at the clock at 3 o'clock and we're going to say to ourselves, it is time. I can do it. I can drink something else besides water. And there have been many different challenges that we have gone through. Last week, we were praying for our enemies, and I hope that you were blessed by that. That is a difficult thing to do, and deliberately taking time to, yes, remember that which has been done against us. And in a way, we relive some of that pain, but we think about Jesus. Remember when he said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." I hope that this Lent season was a time of reflection and slowing down and stillness before God. I'm always reminded daily of Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. I don't think we will ever fully comprehend what that really means. We're always digging in. We're always trying to find a deeper place of stillness. And when we achieve it, it's almost like we look over the precipice of the Grand Canyon and we see that there is no end to seeking just knowing God in stillness. So this week I want us to explore that in a very specific way. As we're peaceful before God and we're still and we're listening, I want us to think about the end of Lent should be a time where we are on the 10-yard line. We are so close to the finish line. And we think about the sufferings of Christ, but there's a moment, and that moment is now, when we think to ourselves, it is finished. The work that Christ did, it's done. And in John 19, verse 30, the Bible says when he had received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." And with that, he bowed his head and he gave up his spirit. This is not a sad moment. This is the moment where we recognize that the wall, the hostile wall, the dividing wall that we built to keep God out, that Jesus did what was necessary to take it down. And we could not take it down. No man can undo what he does, but Jesus, fully man, fully God, did. He took down the wall. He broke off the chains. He lived a life that was perfect so that he could die, and he finished the work by dying on the cross, sinless. The price has been paid, and there's this idea, I don't know that we know what to do with the 3 days between the cross and Jesus' death and the resurrection. There are those days of anticipation for us. But I want you to kind of imagine yourself living and thinking about those days where the price is paid and the resurrection's guaranteed. It's like being looking at the scoreboard with 3 seconds left and you're ahead by 35 touchdowns. All you got to do is take a knee. It's gonna happen. You have won. It's over. It's just a matter of running out that clock for a few seconds. And as we reflect, that's what I'm asking us to do. Is there is no overt exercise. There's no necessarily writing anything down or getting someone a gift or refraining from water. It's being still and knowing not just that God is and that he is good, but specifically that his goodness is manifest for us in its greatest value, in its most demonstrative display, as Jesus delivering us from sin and him doing all of that work for us, and us quietly, patiently, gratefully receiving this rich, rich gift of mercy. And if you are so inclined, when it gets close to Easter, I actually wrote a song about thinking about that tomb and the time Jesus spent in it and the spiritual anticipation and all that he went through, and it did not overcome him. And I wrote a song called Here I Stand, and it talks about just the posture of Christ in the first few moments of his resurrection, the first time his eyes saw light when the tomb door opened, and what must have been going through his mind and his spirit as not only was the work finished, but now he had risen from the dead. And I'll put a link to that song in the description here if you want to listen to it. But it has been my joy and pleasure and honor to spend time with all of you and talk to you about this season of Lent in 2026. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to continue to do things like this in the future. We're going to call these types of things rhythm of life. And what we are doing is we are talking briefly about the truths of God, but we're talking in depth about how do we practically work through those things. So the next one's going to be this summer. In our church here at Valley Chapel, we are going to have a sermon series on the Sermon on the Mount. And each week I will release a video on Monday that will remind you of that simple truth that was talked about in the message, but then walk through some different ways that we might apply that truth in our lives. So it's really a life application thing called the rhythm of life. And then in the fall, we're going to do another one, which is going to be about how do Christians organize a testimony? How do you organize a 2-minute or a 10-minute testimony for yourself? Those of us who've been here at Valley Chapel for a while, we're very used to Teen Challenge coming in, and you'll notice that they have very powerful and specific testimonies organized, and that's something I want to help people do. So thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.